So I've covered a whole range of Dylan tracks at this point. I've covered some of his most famous and well-known tracks, and I've covered some lesser-known tracks, and this is definitely a deep dive. This is a donator-suggested track by Matthew and his wife, who have asked me to check out this Castaway or Left Off Dylan record, which is called Too Late, and it was under a different name at first. He wrote it firstly for the 1983 album Infidels, and then rewrote the track to be called Foot of Pride, which found itself in a 1991 bootleg series, and then only to be featured as Too Late in a much later appearance in 2021. This is Too Late, the Infidels outtake by Bob Dylan. Love those pianos already.
Well, where there was a murder, I don't know, I wasn't there. I was busy visiting a friend in jail.
The wit already. Immediate.
There were just two women on the scene at the time. Neither one of them saw a thing, both of them were wearing veils. They said it was a natural situation. He reached too high and tumbled back to the ground. You know what they say about being nice to people on your way up. You might meet them again on your way back down.
Very true. Okay, so that is a idea that has been referenced in the track, his most famous track, probably, the Rolling Stone. Like a Rolling Stone, I almost forgot it for a second. This idea of like this girl who was at the top at one point and she was a bit of a dick. And when she eventually found herself in a humbled situation, you know, Dylan didn't really have any sympathy for her. So this is a theme that maybe comes up a lot for Dylan. And secondly, I like this line. I think there's more to read into it, where he said there were two women at the scene at the time. Neither of them saw a thing, both of them wearing veils. They said a natural... When he says both of them wearing veils, I don't think he literally means wearing veils. I think he means that they chose to not witness whatever was happening at the time. They chose to be, what was the word? Like ignorant to the situation. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see how this story unfolds.
But it's too late to bring him back. Too late to bring him back.
I think he's talking about a murder that happened.
He had a brother named Paul hang out at the Cafe Royale where Miss Dolly plays and reviews have been mixed. Well, he's pretty to look at, looking for someone to throw the book at, but you know that he drinks and drinks can be fixed. Sing me one more song about your summer romance. I know you don't know motherless children. Sing me the one about you and Evelyn. In these times of compassion where conformities are fashion, say one more stupid thing to me before the final nail is driven in.
Okay, this is the thing with Dylan songs, right? And I think he's best when he's doing this. And I'll explain what I mean. He can go from being like kind of esoteric, where you don't know if he's actually talking about real life. Is he being absurd? Is he just doing kind of a satire of life? Or like he's just kind of painting pictures, if you will. And then he can go to such wisdom and real life logic in the next sentence. He does it often. I think good versions or good ideas of this style of writing that he has, where he kind of bamboozles you in terms of the story. Like, what is he talking about? What is he exactly referencing? I think of tracks like All Along the Watchtower. The writing in that one, it starts in the very first scene already with this with the characters and the action moving. It's like he jumps you into the scene. He's done the same thing here. Another track that he did that in was Tangled Up in Blue, I think, where it was kind of moving about from different time zones and even maybe different people. And the same thing seems to be happening here. I think he's speaking about a murder that's happened, and that's what the chorus is, the refrain is talking about, but it's too late to bring him back, in terms of he's singing it about this guy who's lost his life. And he had a brother named Paul who hung out at this bar and tried to always hit on girls. He's a pretty guy. And I really like this line about "Sing me the one about you" and Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn, obviously the famous actor who's a known ladies man. kind of hard to pass together. Let's keep this rolling.
You know it's too late to bring him back. Too late, too late, too late, too late to bring him back. Dr. Silver Spoon from the Empress Ballroom is a retired businessman who feeds off of everyone he touches.
See, another character introduced.
Gives money to the church and foundations for research. He's not someone you can play around with too much. But then there's Rosetta Blake, who's been to both sides of the lake. She's rough to look at, but loves she's righteously fed. She'll feed you coconut bread and spice buns in bed. You won't have to worry about sleeping face down with your head in the plate.
Okay, more of the story unfolds. So this guy who's Dr. Silver Spoon seems to be somehow involved with what's happening, and he seems to be a man of wealth. And this is the brilliance of Bob Dylan, right? The way he explains this guy's character of who he is, right? He's basically describing the second part, I believe the prostitute, the lady of the night who he deals with, Rosetta Blake, who's been to both sides of the lake. She's rough to look at, but you can trust her to do her job, meaning you won't have to worry about sleeping face down with your head in the plate of whatever you want to call it. Maybe he's talking about drugs, cocaine. It's like she's a trustworthy seasoned lady of the night who you can trust. I think that's what he's talking about. Dr. Silver Spoon, who might be behind what's happened here, who's the actual culprit of the murder. I don't know. Let's keep this going.
It's too late to bring him back. Too late, too late, too late, too late to bring him back. You'll arrange to see your man tonight. He'll tell you some secret things you think might open some doors. How do you enter the gates of paradise? No, not really. More like I gotta go crazy from carrying a burden that never meant to be yours.
The burden is the death of this guy, the murder.
On the stage they be doing the bumps and the grinds. A whore will best they had collect $100 grand and say thanks. They like to take all this money from sin and build big universities to study in and sing Amazing Grace all the way to the Swiss bank.
Okay, I think he's describing a hit and a payment of the hit, and Rosetta Blake being the well, how did he describe it? A whore will pass the hat, collect $100 grand and say thanks. So like some kind of payment is being made at the same time for the death of this guy. Am I getting this story right? I don't know. Who knows? Let's keep this rolling.
But it's too late to bring him back.
Okay, sorry. I just want to note something, right? There's billions of lines like this I can stop with. The way he's able to take a concept and put it in a witty way and make you understand it immediately, right? And sing Amazing Grace all the way to the Swiss bank. Isn't that hilarious? Amazing Grace is obviously a very religious track, but he's singing. Why is he singing? Because he just got paid for some illegal activities. Because he's going to a Swiss bank, and notoriously Swiss banks supposedly are the ones where jurisdictions can't get to. Your money is safe in a Swiss bank. So all of that in this one line, and sing Amazing Grace all the way to the Swiss bank. The duality of the line, dude. Levels, bars.
Too late, too late, too late, too late, too late to bring him back. They got some mysterious people out there, man. They can ring your bell and show you how to hold your tongue. They don't come to party, man. They kill babies in the crib, say only the good die young. They don't believe in mercy, and judgment on them is something you'll never see. They can put your face on a postage stamp, turn you home and do an arm camp. Anyway, they ain't watch you, that's the way you'll be.
Great music,
But
man.
it's too late to bring him back. Too
Okay, so he seems to be describing the loss of someone who was his friend. I mean, all the way back to the beginning. He even says, well, whether there was a murder, I don't know. I wasn't there. I was busy visiting a friend in jail. I think he's speaking about someone who seems to be like a rebel rouser, a kind of revolutionary figure who's been killed by a very powerful man, Dr. Silver Spoon. It's a great way to describe a guy, you know, the idea of a silver spoon, born with a silver spoon in his tongue. Great lines everywhere. You see that. I've missed that on the first go through. Who's died, and he's speaking about his friends. Yes, I loved him too. I still see him in my mind climbing up that hill. The loss of someone who was a revolutionary, as I was saying, maybe is the story here.
Yes, I love him too. I still see him in my mind climbing up that hill. Was it a wall? I don't recall. It don't matter at all, and it never will.
That goes into why I think it fits the idea of this guy was a revolutionary, because that's a great way to put it. I still see him in my mind climbing up that hill. Or was it a wall, a boundary set? Because I don't know. I'm making this up. Let's say it's about Martin Luther King. Let's just say that, right? And he was killed by Dr. Silver Spoon. The idea that this guy was climbing up this hill, that there was, or a mountain, you could say, that there's a wall that he could never overcome because of his race, right? That's the idea being put forward. And he says, I don't recall, it don't matter at all, honey, and it never will. It doesn't even matter at the end of the day. They still killed the man, and he won't be remembered for those things. Great lines. He's got my brain all going.
Ain't nothing left here, partner. Just the dust of fools that have left their mark in spades. From now on, this will be where you're from. Let the dead bury the dead, your time will come. Feel that hot iron glowing now as you raise the shades. But it's too late to bring him back. Too late, too late, too late, too late, too late to bring him back.
What a genius track. Harmonica, Bob Dylan's back. Dude, there's levels to this writing thing. At the very top, the zenith of it, there's a few characters, but Dylan's there. Dylan's there. I've got my own other people that I put there too. Andre 3000 for sure is going there. Kendrick Lamar's going there. But Dylan's there, man. Dylan is at a certain level. Even that last verse, you can dissect almost every line and get something out of it, right? Feel that hot iron glowing now as you raise the shades. Is he speaking about the hot iron of the sunglasses? The sunglasses that have become heated in the sun, raise them up because you live a privileged life? Or is he talking about hot iron, meaning when someone gets tortured and get marked the same way a slave would? As you raise the shades, as you sit in the sun, as a house, you know, as an owner of the house, you sit in the shade. I mean, there's so many levels to this thing. He had another great line here. This one here, just the dust of fools that have left their mark in spades. What? That's a dope line. Dust of fools that have left their mark in spades. So a dust of fools, right? Someone who's passed away becomes dust. Dust of fools that have left their mark in spades. Oh, this is one of his tracks he didn't release. It took him 40 years to release this. Listen, man, great track. Great track. I could sit here and try and look into every single line here and do it for hours, because there'll always be something here. I love this description of this girl, this Rosetta Blake character as well. That was so good. Again, you guys will let me know, what do you think? Do you think my story fit what was going on? This is the tale of like a lost friend, someone who was murdered by a wealthy man who seems to be like a revolutionary. Does that fit the story? I don't know. Regardless, thanks to Matthew and his missus for asking me to listen to this one. Until the next, catch you guys later.